Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making some Easter and spring DIYs using Sherpa fabric. Now you can get Sherpa at just about any of your stores, your Walmart, your Hobby Lobby. I think you can even get it on Amazon. These are super easy projects to make. I've given you the pattern in the description below. You just download it and print it out. So if you want how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right, Maxwell? And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would hit that button. Okay, for this first one, you're going to download the pattern and you're going to print it out on 4 sheets of paper. We are making a bunny pillow. And we're making it out of Sherpa. And go ahead and tape your pattern together, and then we're going to cut it out and we're going to lay it onto our Sherpa and cut it out. And we're going to do 2 layers of this. Okay, make sure you have 2 layers of Sherpa. I'm using a cream colored Sherpa. You're going to go ahead and pin your pattern, and then you're just going to cut them out together, both layers together. You're going to cut your pattern out 1/4 of an inch away from the line of the pattern. So you're going to go around the outside of the pattern about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and since the pattern is so big, you might just want to go around it on the outside of it pretty far first, and then go back in and do the final cut. Once you get it cut out, you're going to turn the facing sides together, so the 2 Sherpa sides together, and then go back in there and pin it. And you want to probably pin it about 1 inch away from the edge. That way it'll hold together while we're gluing it. Just kind of right in the center. Just kind of really get away from the edge, because that's where we're going to glue, but just enough to hold it in place while we're gluing. It'll keep your pattern straight. Next, I'm going to use some Beacon fabric tack. It's a stretch flexible glue, and you're just going to go right around the edges with this and glue it all the way around. Try to get up about 1/4 of an inch into it, because the Sherpa, you don't want it just to kind of flake off on there, because it is kind of goes to the edge. You want to come in about 1/4 of an inch on there, and that's why we cut our pattern out 1/4 of an inch overhang on that. But you're just going to continue to glue around, and you want to press it down really good as you're going. And then once you get this completely glued in, you're going to set it aside. I let mine dry for about 4 hours. And it says that you can wash this as well, but you have to wait like 7 days to wash it. But just take your time on this part. You want to make sure that you do get it glued in good, that you don't miss any sections. Okay, when you get to the bottom, we are going to leave a section of about 4 inches open. So from the bottom of the foot on one side to the bottom of the foot on the opposite side, leave that section open, because we are going to have to turn this right side out. Now that that's dry, we're just going to turn it right side out. And if you take some pliers and go up into the little tips right there where the ears are, it makes it a little bit easier to open those up. Just kind of push them up there, kind of pinch the ear with the pliers, and then just pull it on out. And then when you get them turned right side out, you want to make sure you get it completely opened up good. Just kind of shape it with your hands just to open it up good. Make sure you don't have any holes. If you do, you need to go back in and glue. And then we're going to start filling it with some fiber fill. And start up in the top of the ears, get those pretty full. I'm going to kind of go fast on this so you can see what I'm doing, but you want to get this one pretty full. Just kind of push it up in the ears, get those real full, and then start doing the head part. You want to make sure that the cheeks stick out, and then on the body part, the same thing. You want to make sure that the body sticks out. So fill it so that it does completely open it up. Okay, next I'm going to pin the bottom of it in sections. I'm pinning it in 3 sections because we are going to hand sew the bottom. And it's not hard. You're not going to even see the needle or the thread go through on the Sherpa because it's so the pattern is so thick. Just got to get some sections, pin them up there, and then we're going to unpin section at a time to sew these up. And I'm just using some thicker upholstery type thread. You can get that at Hobby Lobby. It comes on the orange spools. And just do single stitches all the way around. You're not going to see them, I promise you, so they don't have to be perfect. But you're going to go all the way across, and then you're going to tie it off when you get to the opposite side. And as you get a section done, then you can start putting some more polyfill into the bottom, and then continue to go until you have it completely sewed up. Next, I'm going to take some orange and white polka dot ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it around the neck, and then I'm going to glue this. And then we're going to make a bow to go over the top part of it too. So when you glue it, just kind of hold your hand underneath it because you don't want it glued to the bunny. Just put a little bit of glue underneath there and kind of let that dry. Next, I'm going to make a bow. I'm coming down with a round circle to start with. Then twist your ribbon, pull it back, twist it, make a loop, pull it back, twist it, make a loop, pull it back, and keep going until you have as big a bow as you want. I think I did maybe 3 or 4 on each side. And then I'm going to make a tail right there, and then I'm going to cut another one to put to the opposite side. And then we're just going to wire this all together. This is an easy way to make a bow. Just run it right through that loop, and then wire it off in the back, and then you can open up your bow. Just kind of shape it out there, pull your little loops apart. And then we're going to wire it right to that ribbon that's on the bunny now. So you're just going to run it right up underneath that wire, and then you're going to make it pretty tight. So you're going to snug that one in. And then when you cut your wire off, tuck your wire behind the wire and behind the ribbon that's on the bunny. Just tuck it back there so it's not sticking out. All right, see how pretty that is? Okay, and then to finish it off, I just got these little tulips at Amazon. I'm just going to pull them on through, and that was pretty much it. And then I'm just going to set this on my couch for Easter. For this next one, we're making a little sheep, and you're going to take this pattern and you're going to place this on the fold line, and you can download the pattern in the description below. And then go ahead and cut out your pattern so you can lay it out and get it right exactly where you need it to be on your fabric. And we're going to line that line up at the top on folded over fabric. So that's going to open up to one piece once you get it completely cut out. So you're going to leave that top edge not cut, and then you're going to cut the rest of it out. And I'm using white Sherpa to make this. If I were to do over again, I would get the ivory colored Sherpa. I think it'd look cuter. That's how your fabric should look after you get it cut out. And we're just going to fold it back over, and we're going to glue down the side that does not have the curve on it. And if you want to, you can just sew this pattern as well. But you do want to put a generous amount of the glue as you're going down. And then really push that down until it dries. Don't start pulling it apart yet till it's completely dry. Okay, next I'm using a 4-inch egg and about a 4x4 piece of Sherpa, and I'm just going to start gluing this around the egg. Now I got these eggs at Michael's. If you can't find them at Michael's, you can get styrofoam eggs from Amazon. Just about anybody carries the 4-inch eggs. Even a fillable one will be fine, but you'll just want to make sure that you glue it together. But you just want to keep pulling this until it's completely flush, and since Sherpa does stretch, it's easy to get this pretty flat. I am creating this as I'm going, so you are going to have to cut a round curve at the top edge there on the back part and glue that together. While that's inside out, we're going to glue the front edge just like we did the back edge. Just make sure you get plenty of glue so it is held together good. Okay, then we're going to fold back the curved area, and we're just going to glue it about 1/4 of an inch all the way around so we have a nice finished seam on the front. Just spend a little bit of time on this part because you want to make sure you do get that glued in good. Next, just go ahead and turn it right side out, and then we're going to put our head inside with the Sherpa part coming through the hole. And then just kind of get it all lined up where the back part of the head, you don't have any wrinkles, and then we're just going to put a little bit of glue in there at the top part of the head just to hold it in place. Okay, once you get that one glued in, then we're going to start gluing around the front part to hold all this in here together. Okay, next we're going to start filling it with some polyfill, and we're going to fill it pretty full. And you want to come up above the egg a little bit too on the top part and get a little bit of stuffing up above that egg too. And then just keep adding your stuffing until you have it as full as you want it to be. Now we're going to box in the bottom here in a little bit, so just kind of really make sure that they have no wrinkles in the Sherpa. Everything is pretty solid. Once you get it completely full, you can start pulling your Sherpa into the middle to kind of hide that seam. Just kind of bend it over a little bit to pull both sides together. And then that way that seam that you made will be completely covered up. And this is really easy to do. Just put a little bit of glue in the center there, pull the two together, and then that way your seam will be hidden completely. And you're going to do the same thing on the back. This just really kind of cleans it up and then draws it all together. And then you won't even see the line where you sewed it or where you glued it. Okay, next we're just going to sew up the bottom. We're going to push the two sides in, pull that over and that over, tuck it under, and then just start sewing it together. And you really want to work on keeping the bottom of it flat because we are going to put some feet on it, and then that way he'll stand up. We just kind of get all that tucked in. You're just kind of making a little boxed bottom on this. And then once you get it sewn in, just tie that off and tie that into a knot. Just kind of make sure it does stand up. Just kind of shape it a little bit. Okay, next we're going to add some ears. I've given you the pattern for that in the description below. The smaller ear is for the insert and the larger ear is to be cut from Sherpa. And you're going to cut 2 of each of these. And I'm just using felt for this part here. You can use a thin felt or a thick felt. It really doesn't matter. I'm using probably a 3 mil on this one. And then I'm going to cut the other 2 larger ears out of the Sherpa. Just really try to make sure that you are getting that ear shape there. To assemble these, we're going to glue our Sherpa forward about 1/4 of an inch all the way around to the inside. You just want to make sure that you get it pulled in so that when you put the insert on it, it is completely filled in. And then we're just going to take the little insert and glue it right on top. And you're going to do the same thing for both ears. Just kind of push it down in there so that they're kind of blended together. And then fold them over, and we're just going to glue that right to the center. Just fold that in half. And do the same thing with the other ear. Next, to attach them, we're just going to go on each side of the head, kind of about halfway down the middle where the face is, and just attach them right on each side. And you're just attaching them right behind where that fabric is that we put that egg through. You're doing it on the back side of that. And then do the same thing with the other ear, just matching it up on the opposite side. For his feet, I got these little 1-inch felt balls, and I'm just going to attach them, 4 of them down at the bottom. Just kind of space them out on the bottom so that he does stand up. And you'll have to hold them in place a little bit for these to dry because they kind of move around. So take some time on gluing these in and holding them down. And then once you get them on, you can just stand them up and just let it dry. Next, for his eyes, I got these little eyes on Amazon. They come in a box of a variety of sizes, and I'm just cutting the backing off of them. We're just going to use the front part of this. And these cut real good with the miter scissors. Just going to kind of space them on the sides of his head. Just kind of figure out exactly where you want them, and then go ahead and glue them in. And when you glue them in, push them into the Sherpa, and then they'll inset into the face. And I would highly recommend going up a size on the eyes because I did end up taking mine off and replacing them with larger ones. Next, I'm going to take a ribbon and I'm just going to tie around his neck, and I'm going to tie a bow off to the side, just offset on one side. And kind of tie it tight so his neck is drawn in. And you'll see the bigger eyes that I put on here in a minute, but it just is one step up from the ones I used. Okay, next I'm using some embroidery floss, and I'm going to make a nose, and then I'm going to make a smile. And I'm going to kind of go fast through this so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm starting with a V shape for the nose at the top part. And then I'm going to come down a line right through the center of that, and then come off on both sides with a little smile. Just make sure that your nose starts the same place that the one on the opposite side does, so that you have a perfect V. And then you're going to come down through the center, and you're going to go around this a couple of times to make the line coming down to his smile. And I'm making mine about 3 or 4 thicknesses. Okay, then you're going to go to the side and you're going to start making the smile. And I'm not making a big smile, just kind of like a little, little bitty smile. And I'm going out as far as I did on the edges of the nose on both sides. Just kind of line your embroidery floss up so it does stay straight. And you want to make sure that you are making each row tight so you just have one line showing. And then I'm going to run it right through his body on this next one, and I'm just going to cut it off right below his neck. Give a little color separation. I'm going to take some of the Tim Holtz walnut stain, and I'm just going to put a little bit on his feet. And then I'm going to do the same thing right around his face area to kind of differentiate between where the body is and the head is. Just a little, just to give it a little bit of color. It's almost like just a little bronzing. Not too much, just a little bit, just to give him a little bit of color. Okay, next I'm giving you these little labels in the description below. Just download and print them on craft paper. And then I'm just going to take a hole punch and punch a hole in the center of it. And this is about an 1/8 inch hole punch. And then I'm just attaching it right over the ribbon that I did on the side with some just brown string. Now you see the eyes are just a little bit bigger than what I started with. That's what I was saying. I went up one size. And I'm just going to tie that around there and then tie it in a knot and then cut that off. This was pretty quick and easy. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome. See you next time. Thanks for watching.